Hi, everyone. Welcome to this new episode of our Student Spotlight series, where we are able to showcase some of the work our past students have done. I'm Charlotte, one of the outreach coordinators here at CCIR, and it's our pleasure today to have Cassie with us, who did our one-on-one mentorship. So firstly, Cassie, can you just introduce yourself to tell us where you're from, what year you are in school, and then what made you seek out CCIR?
Yes, thank you for having me. Hi, everyone. My name is Cassie, and I'm a sixth form student. So I'm a junior in high school in London. And I was part of the one-on-one research program at CCIR. And my course was The Rise and Fall of the British Empire with Professor Malampally.
And then what made you seek out this topic in particular?
I think I'm a student who is just generally really interested in history, religious study, and politics in general. And I just found, like, after school scrolling through all of the programs, I found this course really, really interesting, especially that it was looking into colonialism, imperialism, and also because it was a combination of both my country, as Professor Malampally is a scholar in the Southeastern Asia studies, but also about the British Empire, which is the country where I'm studying right now. So that caught my attention, and that's how I got into this field and decided to write this research paper.
Nice. And then did you have experience with this subject in school or elsewhere before your CCIR course?
I studied US history before, so I had a brief introduction to British colonialism, including like American British imperialism during the 19th to 20th century. And also because I used to live in a lot of different countries, including the US, China, UK, and Canada. So that also helped me to kind of prepare me for the this course, because everything is generally about like all about the world, all about different culture and etc. So I think that builds my foundation for this course and my interest in pursuing this history field.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so now we're going to discuss your specific research topic. So firstly, can you just give us a general synopsis, maybe the title of your paper as well? Yeah, and then just a general synopsis.
Yeah, definitely. The topic is basically about the perception and approach of Protestant missionaries when they encountered Chinese women in 19th to 20th century during the British imperialism. So I specifically look at the clash and fusion between the two belief system and culture, which is Christianity and Confucianism, which was like the major kind of belief system back in China at that time. And I looked at particularly the approach of Protestant missionaries towards a lot of different social issues around women, including polygamy, foot binding, prostitution, etc. And I also looked at how they changed the social structure and the Chinese government's response to these social issues. So, for example, there were like official committees set up after a few years into 20th century, in which the Chinese government was kind of inspired by the Christian missionary refuge and mission, and decided to incorporate that into their own official kind of model, in which they started to help these women getting out of the polygamy, getting out of these other like institutional structure that held them in like devastation and struggle. Yeah.
Interesting. And then what made you choose this particular topic?
Yeah, I think at first Professor Malampally he showed me a lot of different kind of sources and books and articles about opium in particular. I read a lot of different kinds of like source about the different aspects of opium in China, including the religious one, the political one, and the social one. And it was this article about the social life of opium that inspired me and allowed me to kind of approach this research paper in a way focusing on the social and religious aspects. And also because I hail from a bit Buddhist family, but I also studied in a Christian school next to one of the most important Abbey church in the UK. So me myself, I am experiencing this clash of religion and clash of culture, which also inspired me to go like into that kind of aspect into China in the 19th and 20th century, relating to British imperialism and relating to women in particular. Yeah.
Interesting. And so it seems like you can even make the parallels to your life today, which is
Yeah.
always a really nice thing to be able to do when you're looking into the past. Um, okay, and then my next question is just about your research methods and kind of your process of collecting data. So can you describe that to us? Maybe tell us what type of research you conducted and then how the process of finding data.
Yeah, definitely. So different from like more like a STEM like research project, humanity research project, or like history in particular, is all about reading and just like going through all of those different sources and trying to find useful quotes, information, etc. And I'm really lucky that not only because I spent my summer in Shanghai. So when I was in Shanghai, I get to visit a lot of museums and a lot of like actual sites in Shanghai in which I can find traces of opium and British missionary. And especially, I think most of my research paper focused on Christian Protestant missionary reforms in Shanghai in particular. So that really helped me in terms of gathering resources and primary sources too. But also after I traveled back to London, I was able to go to the British Library and was able to like find a lot of different missionary reports, first source, like primary source missionary reports, where I was able to find a lot of because my focus was on Protestant missionary perception. So I get to see a lot of like the attitude and the perception and their own religious belief surrounding that. So my location was just like a big plus in my research process. I was able to find a lot of different sources that was able to help me to complete my research paper. So the whole process was just reading, writing, and like just read more. And I think encountering different sites and encountering different sources just always adds new aspects and new spectrum to the research paper, where I was able to enrich it and delve more into the fields and seek the niche and the kind of like the detail part of it. Yeah.
Nice. And then now can you walk us through your findings and what you found most interesting?
Yeah. So I think the missionary perceptions were forging a middle path between Victorian and Confucian kind of Confucian approach to women in general. It was one that blended the three obedience of women under Confucianism with the Victorian um, ideal of female domesticity, which was like really prevalent back in the days. And I think that the consequence of this encounter was really complicated. On one hand, instead of like liberating women from bondage, these missionaries through their discourse on Chinese women, on Chinese sex workers, and those who are suffering polygamy, they were reinforcing a system of hierarchy and female subordination. As I was examining all of the different refuge missions that were aimed to save women out of these devastation, but ultimately decided to encourage women back, like getting back to family, but a better family. But on the other hand, we can also see like this fusion that has caused change. So, for example, as I mentioned about the government official committees getting established and this other specific refuge mission conducted by the Qing government and Qing court called the Jilansuo, were all kind of like inspired by Christian mission and Christian missionaries, in which they adopted the model and decided to kind of change the whole Chinese perception and attitude towards women. And I think that is what changed and advanced the Chinese kind of culture and social structure into one that is more friendly to women and more modern, that in our perception at least. Yeah.
That's very interesting. Was this kind of something that you were expecting to find, or were you completely surprised by your findings?
No, actually, at first, before I looked into the specific like mission of the Christian missionaries, I thought that like Christian Protestant missionaries would be really kind of like you would say that their ideas were aligning with the modern feminist movement, kind of, because they were criticizing, for example, prostitution. They were criticizing foot binding and think that these were like the evils and sin of the society that needs to be get rid of. They like people has to get rid of those. But on the other hand, after I actually looked into the specific mission that these missionaries had conducted, especially the one called the Door of Hope mission, I noticed that ultimately their mission was to kind of get women back into family and find a better family. So they still, their ideas were still embedded with the Victorian domesticity and the idea of good wife, good like mother, which was not what I was expecting at the first place, especially seeing their like such like opposing view towards these social ills. Yeah.
That's very interesting. That seems like a really great project. So now we're just going to shift into discussing your general experience with CCIR. So
Yeah.
firstly, can you tell us what your experience was like in a program doing a high-level research project like this?
Yeah, this is actually like my first research project that I've conducted throughout my academic journey. So it was really, really like it opened up a new world for me because before I think writing essays, timed essays at school were just kind of like a descriptive essay in which I just talk about the knowledge that I know, but actually delving into the research aspects of academia, I was able to realize that actually there was it was way more complicated than I was expecting it to be. You have to read a lot. I have like thousands of tabs open on my Google Chrome. So all of these things help me recognize that um, research in general is something that really enrich your worldview and your perception and also your like understanding of the area that you're interested in. And this experience, especially with Professor Malampally and CCIR, helped me and also prepared me for my high school kind of sixth form projects, which involves research and involves actually writing literature review for etc. and like proposals, which were all like really necessary in terms of conducting a research and writing a research paper. So I think in general it just helped it and just enrich my understanding of the field that I'm passionate in, and I'm really grateful for that.
Nice. And then how did this research experience compare to other papers or projects you've done in school?
I think especially one-on-one meetings with professors and also feedback from professors really help you to like really help me to target the kind of the weaknesses in my own paper because a lot of times Dr. Malampally would point out specific quote or specific sentence in my paper that he thinks I should modify in terms to like better address my idea. And oftentimes those small changes really help to better convey the idea in a more clear and more direct way. And I think that is really important because you can use less words to just address the same message in a more like in a better way in a more effective way. So I think that's really really important compared to, for example, like peer review at school. A more professional approach to research paper just help you to get more feedback to improve yourself in terms of becoming a scholar, no matter in university or after university, um, in the field that like you're interested in. Yeah.
Nice. And then for those listening, one of the benefits of our one-on-one mentorship is the flexibility, both in terms of the scheduling of the program, as well as in terms of what the student researches. So can you tell us what it was like being able to kind of design this entire course around your specific research interest? Also what it was like both doing the learning about the subject as well as learning kind of how to research and following that through.
Yeah, so before everything starts, we had like an introductory meeting, and Dr. Malampali was explaining about like the schedule and the whole plan throughout the whole summer, throughout the whole program. And because I was traveling to different places, to Canada, to the States, and etc., so my time difference also, like my time zone also changed a lot. I had to coordinate it with my professor, and it's always really effective, and it's like just like a few hours or like 24-hour before the meeting, I was able to reschedule it if there is something happening on the spot. But moreover, I think because I wanted to finish this project before my school starts in the new term, so I had to request Dr. Malanfali to schedule and plan our whole project within this program in 10 weeks rather than 14 weeks. And I think that it was really flexible and helped me to like, he was helping me to adapt to this kind of system really well. And I think that is like the main part that I liked about the one-on-one mentorship, because I was able to like point out, like I was able to request for personal kind of needs, and my professor and CCIR staff were always there to help me to fulfill these needs and to better like help me to better prepare for my research paper and etc.
Nice. And then just a few more questions for you. The first one is, has this course given you any insights into your future? Has it maybe informed or shaped how you think of your path moving forward at all?
Yes, definitely. I think this research paper in particular uh gained me a lot of insight into religious study and history, and I think that helped me to kind of strengthen my passion within these fields. Maybe I might not pursue this in university, but it's definitely something that is really relatable to my own life. So I would use my spare time to delve into these kind of area in this field more. And moreover, I think it just helps me to like it kind of like strengthened my heart in terms of conducting more academic research throughout like my high school year, as I was able to I actually was kind of like addicted to the feeling of reading like information and just like finding those quotes, like this one specific quote that helped me prove my argument in my research paper. So I was really keen to continue that, and I hope to continue that in my last 2 years of high school too. Yeah.
Nice. And then my last question for you, what would you say to someone who asked you what the value of doing a project or a program like this is, especially for a high school student?
I think if you really want to prepare yourself for a higher level academic research or a higher level understanding of the subject that you wanted to pursue or you're interested in, CCIR, those and any other research programs really help you to do so. You can, no matter if like you ultimately realize that if it might not be this area or research program might not be like the thing for you, you can still gain invaluable experience and also message from this whole kind of journey, because you would realize that either I really, really liked it, I want to continue it, but or you would want to pursue something else. And I think that is always meaningful in terms of your own personal growth as a student, as a scholar, and as a person. Yeah.
I think that's great advice. So that's the end of our Spotlight interview. Thank you so much for chatting to me, Cassie, and congratulations again on your nomination to our Spotlight series.
Thank you.